What's up, everyone? We're back. This is day 4. We got this chain still going, which is awesome in the path to figuring out how to build foundations for real solid, lasting change. And as we talked about before in the previous episodes, it's super important to start with just your why, your bigger picture. It's super important. I'm sorry I keep reframing this, but for me, it's super important. Again, I'm here doing this for myself because I really want to change and make my life better, which hopefully will help all the people around me make their lives better that come in contact with me. So I'm framing it from I. You can do whatever you want, but hopefully this will be helpful or useful for you in some way. So to start with that core like beliefs, what do I believe in? What do I think, even subconsciously, like trying to get it out, my belief system or why I'm here, and what I'm doing on a bigger picture level. And I can't wait to get through this, just so I can start writing down goals and then start setting up habit systems, because that's where the fun is going to be. And then seeing if I can keep those going. I mean, look, I'm starting to get proud of doing this for the 4th day in a row, and just putting it up and out. So I know I'm only 4 days in, but I'm like, all right, well, what's it going to look like in 5 days? And what's it going to look like in 6, 7, 8, 9? Once I get there, how is that going to feel? I'll let you know. If we get there, we're not there yet. And history tells me that if we're following similar trends, the odds are that we won't get there. And I'm not going to go there in my mind right now, and I'm just going to keep taking one day at a time. And I think that's super important. But we can still celebrate that we're here and doing this day 4. So what I did was I refined a little more. I really just spent a little more time, not that much, but like, 30 minutes or so in looking at what I had on the board yesterday and refining to just kind of like narrow down even a little more my bigger picture, kind of why, purpose, what could give me meaning and drive that could then trickle down to all the even mundane things that I do, my smaller goals, my more normal goals, because this is out there stuff. So here it is. Check this out. I just wrote this after disseminating what I had gone through the last couple days. Ultimately, what I am seeking source, God, infinite, unbound, whatever you want to call it. I'm seeking like the infinite, the unbound, God, source, just something without boundaries that's everything. If you get down to it, I'm traveling there. I'm trying to find that everything I do here is sort of like, how can I get closer to that? I'm willing to travel through every layer of existence to get there. So just thinking to myself, I don't know why I wrote that sentence, like, I am willing to sort of, it does propel me, because I think one of the biggest questions is like, when we were saying, what's your why? Really, why do you get up and move? And if I take it to the biggest scale possible, well, I guess ultimately I'm going to try and find out what this is all about, really. So if it's finding source or God or the infinite, and then I'm going to travel through whatever layers of existence that I'm experiencing here, whatever comes, So I just wrote it that way. The only tool I have to get there is my body. And that's what it kind of starts with. I'm thrown into this world in a body. I have my body, which, and I have my mind, and I have a spirit, if there is such a thing. And, that's what I've got right now. That's at least what I can see or understand. My body allows my senses to experience the world. So my body is actually what's allowing me to touch, taste, smell, hear. My mind processes that. So my mind processes that. And my spirit feels. And so this is where it kind of jumps to, I think the first two definitely have a body, I think, I've got a mind that processes what I'm experiencing. And then the jump to just sort of like, there's not really any hard proof that I can find is spirit. And my spirit feels. But I am going back to this thing about feeling for me is important because I feel like that would be the only true way to get to a source is some kind of feelings. Now, of course, they come through my physical senses, I think, but this is where I don't know. And there's no science that can back it up for me. I don't know if we have a receiver in our bodies or something that can connect, or there's something invisible that can connect us to the source of things. And maybe that's the case, but it is a jump that I'm willing to make because I just think I am spiritual in a lot of ways. I feel spiritual. And this is where I'm acknowledging it's a little bit of a jump for me. I have no way of having any like hard proof. It's also a more enjoyable thing to believe, I think if I can, and there's some hope that is attached there, that there is some meaning to this. There's something bigger than myself or bigger than this world and everything that's in it. That would be, I have hope that that's the case. So my actions, so physical actions of body, mental processing of mind equals potential spiritual connection with source. So I think that, once I make that jump and say, okay, so now my physical actions, which we'll get to, is like, those are the choices that I make and the things that I decide to do as I move through this world and how I interact with people, the actions that I take. My mind is going to continually process those things. And hopefully all those things align with my ultimate goal. So my actions matter. They must align with reaching source. So this does guide me in a way. My mind can help with this. My mind can process this and tell me, as we review things, as I review things, I can go, all right, I'm in alignment with that ultimately, that bigger picture goal. When I make all my goals and I list them out, again, they're going to need to go back and go, hey, how does this make you feel? Does this align with this spiritual path you're on, I guess, if you want to call it a spiritual path? I never thought I would, I never, ever in a million years thought I would be on some kind of like a path where I'm looking for a spiritual path. But as I get into this, I'm like, if you were to push me and go, what is it that you're looking for? I'd be like, I'm trying to sharpen something deeper inside. I'm trying to refine something deeper. I'm fighting hard to do that. I want that. And it's just true. That's all, the most I can say about it. It's like all the things, this business that I've built, it's not really about the physical business. I have a big physical space that I operate a business out of. And it's like, it's not about, well, it's all great. And I love the physical space, but it's more, for me, it's actually more the things that it forces me to go through in doing all this and creating this that then sharpens something or refines something inside. And that's, or challenges things that are deeper, that feel more spiritual, that feel more like character traits, but maybe they're soul traits. Maybe they exist outside of a body and a mind. And that's where I'm curious. And that I think is what it is. Does, do traits, do traits, character slash soul exist outside of, I can't hardly write down here, of a body and mind. Okay, so that's what I'm like pushing towards, is like these things that I feel, do they exist? Do those feelings exist? Do those emotions that are tied along with, with the good feelings, the great feelings, do those exist outside of a body? Is that possible? And there's a part of me that feels like the answer may be yes. And it's not even that far off just logically to me, so I think that that's where I'm searching for, and that those would probably exist outside of a body in something like a source, like, joy and love and all the good things. All the dark qualities must exist too. We're literally talking about the force here, the light side of the force and the dark side of the force. But that's why humans keep making stories like this over and over and over again, in our movies, in our storytelling, and even in our religions. So, but I have to go through this myself without reading a book or having someone, I need to process it all. So that's why I'm doing it this way, is I feel like if I'm really going to create the life that comes from something inside me, I need to understand all that inside me. I need to process it as best as I can. And I've got to go forward with that foundation, because I feel like that'll build whatever I'm trying to build. It'll build it in the strongest way possible, and allow me to get as close as I can in this life, So I think it's, so I'll just, I'm going to read this through one more time. I am seeking source, God, infinite, unbound. I am willing to travel through every layer of existence to get there. The only tool I have is my body, mind, and spirit to guide me. My body allows my senses to experience, my mind processes, my spirit, if there is such a thing, feels. Physical actions of body, mental processing of mind equals potential spiritual connection with source. My actions matter. They must align with reaching source. My mind can help with this. My goals, wants, desires, everything I do must align with this, with seeking source. Do traits, character, soul traits exist outside of a body and mind? So I think that's the core of it. And I think that needs to now when I understand that sort of philosophy that I have, I can go on I still feel this needs more work, but now I feel a little better. I said this yesterday too. I'm like, maybe we just go on, but it's like, okay, well then there's a feeling that came up. It's like, I got to refine this a little more. And that's the way I want this whole experience to be is like, look, I am going by my mind, but also feelings, you know? And I think this is a bigger point that I'll come back to. You know, we talked about it in the first or second video. Feelings generate, and emotions, you know, they generate energy. I'm interested in choosing these actions that align and that I really feel right about. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be times where I don't feel good and I'm going to, you know, still have to do something. Yesterday shooting, I feel much better today than I did yesterday shooting this. Yesterday was like, it's just one of those days. Like everything felt a little off. We still shot it and put it out. Today feels pretty good. It's just, you know, I feel like I was able to write this out, you know, before. And so it's going to be like that. But I do want to feel, I'm interested in exploring feelings, and I think they're super powerful if you can use them, and at the same time avoid feelings, you know, and avoid actions, which just seems totally logically doable. Like if I understand that if I spend time around a certain person that might, you know, that's you guys know what I'm talking about, is like stirring shit up or just you know, continually bringing drama. Well, maybe I choose to avoid that person, and then I'm not going to feel certain things, you know, that actually don't do anything for me. So, like, I think even understanding feelings is powerful, and I'm gonna get more. I want to explore that more and more, both avoiding certain kinds of feelings if I can because they're not useful, and really diving deep into the emotions that, like, how far can I go with feelings that are really energizing or really have a powerful, expansive effect on people, you know? I mean, why not have a little choice in that, you know, rather than just like going about your day and like running into certain things that may, you know, piss you off or maybe not, but you can make choices that actually affect that, you know? We talked a little bit about sleep yesterday. There's some things that you can actually physically do that really have an effect. Eating well. I mean, these will all go in my goals and the habits, physical exercise. These are all, this is like low-hanging fruit. The harder stuff is probably going to be more, and everybody goes for the things like, you know, getting in shape, eating well. You know, everybody talks about that stuff and tries to do that stuff. Great, let's do it, because all the good stuff is there for that. But the harder things are like, well, if I'm going to keep my body sharp, let me keep my mind sharp. So I know how to communicate better. I can say less. All those things are useful. What can I learn? What can I study? How can I spend time on those things that will then create more and more positive effects that elicit positive feelings that can get me closer. And right now I still feel like I'm blind, you know? Even when I talk about this, I'm like, I kind of have an idea, and I'm like feeling, you know, I'm like, how do I get there? Come on, let's go. I'm making a YouTube video, and I'm standing, you know, in my office on this, you know, chalkboard, and I'm like, you know, I'm like putting this out there. And I feel very blind right now, but it's like I have some instinct that if I just keep going, if I can manage to do that, I'm gonna get a little more understanding. I'm gonna get a little more. I'm gonna get a little more. I'm gonna get a little more. And if I can just keep going, like maybe I won't get there, but maybe it'll cause me to change my thoughts and feelings completely. But, you know, I mean, all of it should align with that. Everything I try to do from here. And that's why this is the foundation, you know? So if I decide I want to do 10 minutes a day of meditation, well, and breath work, like that kind of aligns, right? If I want to really develop, you know, with my kids, one of my biggest goals is like, you know, I want to make sure that I really do everything I can to give them the best of me that I can give them, you know, while they're growing up with me, because it's going to go fast and they're going to be out of the house soon, you know? And it's like, well, that, like the feeling that I would have by doing my best with that, even if, you know, and reading books on how to do that, and, you know, making sure I've got some discipline with moving towards that goal, just writing it down. Because how many of you write that down if you have a family? Like maybe a lot of you do, but I want to write it down and be really specific and detailed about it. I'm not going to be satisfied until, you know, that I've done my due diligence, so that I've left no stone unturned. Because imagine if you know that, like, look, whatever happens, you did everything you could do for something that you cared about so much, then what kind of great feelings are you going to get from that? Just knowing that you did everything you could for them. You built love. You built it. You built the care, you know, carefully. You put that in. So imagine what that does for those. That's the good stuff, right? Imagine it, like, again, like, you know, it fills you inside somehow. And that, for me, that's why I make that jump to spirituality, because I'm like, was this just all like just body feelings, just my body and my mind processing it, and no other connection? You know, it's like within every body, every human, you can see these feelings, these emotions. So like the gap in between, the gap in matter, this doesn't exist anywhere else. And like from here to there, from me to this other person, like there's nothing in between. So I think spending the time and the care is important. And to generate choose to generate your feelings, your emotions. So that's where I'm going to try to go. And that's enough for today. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.